Peace and blessings to the black family. Back again. Black at ya. Peace to the gods. Peace to my earths. Peace to all the righteous throughout the planet. I know y'all knowledge wisdom, so you understand it. All right. So this is part 2 of my talk on reparations. Up here in the SCA, Morocco, the 206. And I'm talking on this because what I'm seeing when I look at the group ADOS, a lot of positive things, y'all. A lot of positive things, because for the first time we have a real inner city black political platform, even a black political party, you know. For the first time, we had the Black Panther Party. The Black Panther Party was a little bit more civic and I would say activism oriented, but this time this is a party that does civic stuff, has people in it that does civic stuff who are activists, but at the same time we're putting something on the presidential platform. They said during Obama we didn't get anything because we didn't have an ask. We weren't organized well enough. Our issues were not organized, what they say, aggregated, brought together, to bring together to a platform to present, like an APAC would do, or like some of the different Asian countries do whenever there's a presidential campaign. They get their money together, they get their people together, they organize, they sit down, they talk, and they figure out what they could do collectively, or what they could ask for collectively, to where it's not 20 different people from the same group coming to ask for something, you see? And they're all saying different things. See, they can play you like that, because then they can have you, who wants one thing, argue with the other person who's saying, speaking for the group, we want this. But if the group gets together, organizes, puts their bread together, put their head together, then we can all stay fed together. Because other than that, we're going to be all dead together. And we're pretty close to that now. You know, so one thing I always talk about is that when we talking about the black nation, we talking about ADOS. Okay, where is ADOS? We know who ADOS is, but where is ADOS? So when we start to identify ADOS, right, the descendants of slaves, we're talking about what I call the 16 black Meccas. Okay? And what I'm going to do another piece on that, the 16 black Meccas. But these are all the places, say like in St. Petersburg. There's a sister, I think her last name is Akile. I can't pronounce her first name, and I don't want to mispronounce it, but it looks like she's running under the Uhuru movement down in St. Petersburg, Florida, you know, as a city council person, but her platform to improve St. Petersburg is reparations, you see? Now, that's a wonderful idea, because I see a lot of these candidates who run for representative, and they don't have a platform. It's an empty platform, you know. It's something that would maybe sound good to some white folks, or some, as they say, brown people, darker people, but it's not, usually it's not a platform that's for black people. They'll put something in there to manipulate you, to make you think it's something in there for you, but it ain't nothing in there for us. We know that. We've been playing this political game for a long time, where we give our vote and we get nothing. So I'm really glad to see the emergence of this inner city black political party known as ADOS, American Descendants of Slaves. Irregardless of the name, and people want to have all these arguments and, you know, discontentions with this or that. It's a very powerful thing that's happening right now, because nobody has put forth a platform to address the problems in the inner city, that most of them were not created by the inner city. We didn't ship the large amounts of crack into the 16 black Meccas. Some of us helped and assisted with that, but as we look into their stories, people like the real Rick Ross, he tells us how he was manipulated into this situation and who else was involved. That's another issue or point of reparations that we're going to have to talk about, which did not happen 400 years ago, did not happen 200 years ago, did not happen 100 years ago, happened in the 90s. Okay? And before that, it was heroin. Before that, it was alcohol. And yes, some of us participated, but still it was a purposeful act of genocide against the black nation, which people put money into, which governments benefited from. You had government officials who benefited from bringing cocaine into the black community. Wow. On tape, right? That's a war crime. Yeah, when you bring poisonous chemicals to another community with the intent of eliminating them, and you are able to capitalize off of that and make money, that's a war crime. Yes. Go look it up. You see, you can't bring poison into a community and you make trillions, if not billions, that you're still flipping today. They say Miami's entire skyline was built off of this money. But still, none of the money that's still there, obviously, okay? They don't want to allocate none of that money to the damage that was done by the people who brought or who benefited the most from this crime against humanity, a recent one. Okay, not the transatlantic slave trade, but the crack epidemic, which Gary Webb, you know, once again, down in Florida, or was it Florida? I'm not sure. I know he was writing for the Mercury, okay, exposed the whole story of who was complicit in this. Government agencies, multiple government agencies. And they want us to just hush this up and be quiet about this, but this incident is a reparations incident. And the damage from this incident we're still dealing with today. Because not only was it just crack, you had a person, Mr. Biden, Joe Biden, who actually wrote the crime bill and gave the incentives to each state that they could give federal money to build prisons, you see, if they had a mandatory complete sentence clause, meaning that you couldn't do just some of your time, you had to do your whole time so they could keep these jails filled up, making money. So it was a capitalistic venture. It wasn't a crime prevention venture, you see. And then we had Mrs. Clinton, her crew, who were bringing the drugs into Alameda, right, Arkansas. And then they were going all throughout the Midwest, all throughout the South. That's a crime against humanity. How are you a presidential candidate and one who became president and her Secretary of State, you committed these crimes against us, but everybody wants to wash it away and act like it didn't happen. But the damage is still here. People are still incarcerated. There's still crack babies. There's still the damage from the crime of the crack that we endure every day and that we cannot afford to pay to fix this. So the people who are most responsible for this situation, that's just one of the situations in the long line of reparations due to the black nation. You see? So, you know, we're at a point, what I would like to see, what I think would be most effective, will make this most real, this movement, is if all throughout the black meccas, and I'm going to talk about that in my next video. This is video 2, but I'm going to talk about that in my next video. All throughout the black meccas, we need to bring ourselves together, community meetings, town hall meetings, and say, we are the ADOS. These are the problems here in this one of the 16 black meccas, in our neck of the woods. This is what we're dealing with. Okay, and we're advocating and draw those issues out one by one. The main ones that black people are dealing with. Black folk been dealing with and are dealing with now. Okay, and then come to the table as a